Courage means stepping in with all our doubts, with all of our worries, with all of our fears, and doing what we've been commanded to do. That's step one, courage. And we need to practice that, and we need to help one another. Now, when I talk about accountability groups and helping one another, it's never finger pointing. It's lifting a man up. It's making sure that no brother is left behind, no man is left behind. And together we can help one over the hurdles of the failure of a heart when it comes to practicing courage. The one thing we haven't talked about is what was present all along in Joshua's scripture there, and that was the vision. You see, Joshua and all the people of Israel had a vision that they would step into the promised land, that there was a promised land, and that they someday would possess that. So the second thing is you need to have courage first to step into God's command. But the second thing is you really do need a God-delivered vision. That is your why. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? My why, by the way, is the world that I see around me. I do not want my grandchildren to grow up in this world where the values are so low and there is no absolute right or absolute wrong. There is no standard that men rise to, and the culture is perverted. And I don't want my children or my stepchildren to continue living in a world, and I don't want my children, my grandchildren, living into a world that looks like the one I see out my window, where the nation is divided rather than being the United States, being the United Methodist Church. So you've got to have a vision. That's my vision, is to transform the world into a place where God is sovereign, king, has authority, and the grace and the love of God rests upon God's people. That's my overarching vision. That's the outcome I'm seeking. So we have to be courageous. We have to have a worthy vision, something that's worth fighting for. And freedom is worth fighting for. Then we need to have what I call boldness. That means the courage to live in my life without compromise the truth of God, and to have that apply to every part of my life. I became a Christian as an adult, and I began practicing my faith everywhere. I didn't proselytize, I didn't preach, I didn't wave my Bible around, but I lived by the principles of the Bible. And it's fascinating to me that everywhere I worked, when I was in the workforce, people would come up to me and they'd say, "You're a Christian, aren't you?" It was never in condemnation. It was with admiration. They saw something in me in the context of the workplace that looked like Jesus. And I was pretty rough around the edges. So we have to have the boldness to stand for what is right and to trust God to fight the battles now, but the boldness to live it out. Now, that takes a lot of courage in the home, believe it or not. It takes courage in the workplace. It takes courage with our close friends because they know the real us. But the home is the place where it's sometimes the most difficult because we're in a habit, in a rut. And so it takes boldness, courage, vision, boldness, and finally, it takes absolute commitment